Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the Cyber Gizmo, I'm going to be looking at PopOS 2104, and currently it's in beta. Right after this. So sometime this week, because this is the end of June, we should see the release of PopOS 2104, but currently the desktop version is in 2104, and I wanted to go over a few things with you that I ran into with it, and also maybe go through a sample install on a virtual machine. But so let's talk a little bit about what it is. Most of the features of it is based on Ubuntu Desktop 2104. It adds some additional System 76 developed applications that were built in Rust. And as far as I know, there is no planned release date other than what they have stated publicly on the site, that it will be available in June, which has to be this week. It's supported. I don't know what its end support date is. Typically, they follow the same end of support date as Ubuntu, but I do know that from the roadmap, PopOS, they are working to move their APT repositories to their own servers. So I don't know when that will take place. They currently do use the Ubuntu repos. So it does not support GNOME 40. Shouldn't be a big surprise there because Ubuntu doesn't. Therefore, there is no GTK4. There is GTK3 and 2 and some of the older ones, but it does use GNOME 3.38.5 as its baseline, and they also introduced a new desktop environment called Cosmic. It is GNOME based. So some of the things that they wanted to add into this were some of the features around GNOME were a little clumsy in moving between workspaces and applications, so they now have two distinct views where you can set up your super key or super D to go either into workplace or applications. It depends on which one you want it to be configured to. So that gives you two distinct views into your system. The super key by itself launches the launcher by default. However, in the past, you probably remember it brought up an applications list, and you can still program it to do that. Also, you can change it to automatically go to the Workspaces and Applications view if you choose. There is a new dock, and it is patterned after the dash to dock or dash to panel. And that appears at the bottom of the screen, and you can customize it. It defaults to be in the center, and it only provides a view of the applications that are configured into it, or you can have it stretched completely across the screen. You can justify it left, right, or center. You can auto-hide, although on my machine, auto-hide feature doesn't seem to work at this point in time, but I did notice they are working quite a bit on the patches today. I've seen them. It seems like they're really busy patching the system. Also, for mouse-driven users, those of you who prefer to use just your mouse, you can take advantage of the dock, and there are minimize and maximize buttons that the minimize is on by default, the maximum is not, but you can go into your settings and you can configure those the way that you want them now. Also, you can, the hot corners I think are disabled by default as well, but you can turn that on. So if you fling the mouse cursor to the corners, then you can have it perform certain tasks depending upon how you have it set up in your settings. For keyboard users, yes, you can still take advantage of a more efficient experience. And it provides additional space for applications, has auto tiling support, and there are, of course, keyboard shortcuts that you can use as well to launch applications. The top bar has a number of changes as well. You can change positions of the date and time and also the notifications, so you don't have to have those appearing in the middle of the screen anymore. Like I said, expected release date sometime in June, or actually this week. So I guess probably there is a beta that you'll have to go to right now, because if you go to the PopOS part of their website, you'll still see 2010 and 2004 LTS listed as the options that you can use. So I think probably the best thing to do would be to stop for a moment and let me get set up, and we'll talk a little bit about where to find some of this stuff. Okay, so what I have here is the beta page for PopOS, and it is, of course, in GitHub, and you can see it's /pop-os/beta. And here you'll find a README, and it talks a little bit about the beta release. This is if you're Intel AMD only or your NVIDIA, you can download whichever one of those you prefer. So I did attempt to do this on hardware, and it still says it's installing prerequisites after 2.5 hours. I think that might be hung up. So, yeah, I don't think that worked too well. So, but it is beta. I'm not going to criticize it. I'm sure it's a bug, and I'm sure they'll fix it before too long here. But you pick whichever one of these that you want. Now, for today, of course, because I'm going to be running this under VM, I'm just going to choose the Intel AMD option. But if you have NVIDIA hardware, you may want to do that, and that will then bring in the drivers automatically for your install, just like all the other previous releases of Pop have done. So out here, I have a version running already, so we'll go ahead and walk through I'll go ahead and create a new VM for it, and we'll walk through the install. One of the things I noticed is I don't know if they had talked to one time about on their roadmap giving us additional options on the install. And so we can go through some of that and kind of see. I'm going to go ahead and use Spice today. And I'll push this out to my NVMe drive. It's on Proxmox. We'll give it some memory, although it won't need this much. But I just like to keep it the same, and then we'll put the Intel for the network driver in. And we're done with that, and we'll let it build out right here. And then we'll go ahead and start that, and we'll open the console for it. This takes a second, and then it'll start to load. This, of course, will go to a live image, so you can play around with it if you want to before you install it. Okay, so, and then you'll see that, this isn't anything different from what it was before. Yeah, the same. We'll select our keyboard layout. And I'm going to do a clean install, of course. And you can, of course, do a custom. This allows you to create resides or otherwise manage the partitions. Can lead to data loss. Yeah, if you missize your partitions, you certainly can. I'm just going to do a clean install, but I'll choose that one. It's going to ask me if I want to encrypt. I don't. If I was on a laptop, I would. And we'll just wait for it to extract out. And I will be back. This shouldn't take very long. Yeah, it's 5:01 right now, and we'll see how long it actually takes. So I will be right back. So it's about 5:03, so a couple of minutes to actually do the install. And I will go ahead and restart it. And we'll see what we get. And of course, it's going to walk through some additional configuration. So I'll go ahead and turn that off. I'll go ahead and set my time zone. And then there are some accounts here that you can set up. Enterprise login Kerberos. That's new. This was on their roadmap for a while, and it's good to see that it has actually made it into the release. So I did not have that included on my notes, but it's good to see that. I'll go ahead and pick an icon. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, password set. We're all done. Let's start using it. And then it gives you this kind of a default view. I'll go ahead and we'll go into the display settings. And appearance. Nope. I guess what I need is display, not that one. Okay, let's get this up a little bit bigger. Yeah, I should be able to do this. Yep, keep the changes. And then you'll notice in here that, well, first of all, let's take a look at the About screen, and you'll see that this is definitely 3.38.5. It is using X11 and not Wayland. So that's a little bit different than the default for Ubuntu. So yeah, a little bit different. So let's see. As far as the desktop, you can see here, this is your where you would set your super key action if you wanted it to launch the launcher or the workspaces or application view. You can have it do that, and here's your hot corner. It's disabled. These are all on to-do still. So unlike most betas, normally a beta is supposed to have all the features in it, but apparently these are still open items to complete. Yeah, so top bar, we can do that, and then the window controls, and then as far as backgrounds, there's nothing that I see that is, well, maybe a few of them are new, but we'll go ahead and pick that one. And then you can choose whether you want a dark or a light view. And then these are the settings for your dock. So I can have it on all displays or primary displays. And then I don't know what this is going to be. So I can have it extend to the edges of the screen or just have it go to the center like that. And you can also, now there's some other options here they have planned, but those are also listed as to do. You can set your dock size, and you can have it currently at the bottom of the screen, along the left or along the right. So wherever you want it is fine. Your workspaces, you can define the number of workspaces that you want. You know, are you going to have them span displays? And then these are all listed as to-dos as well. So I still think, I mean, a beta, that's a little unusual. Normally, a definition of a beta is feature complete but not fully tested. So, yeah, in this case, we're still missing some features here, I think. So, as far as the rest of it, yeah, this looks about the same. So let's go down here and configure this up, and then we'll take a look at some of the options down here. So let me get this sized up first. Now, one of the things that has always been my complaint with PopOS, it's minor, but yeah, it resizes the font, but look, well, I guess it did. Never mind. I have been proven wrong. So that's good. It's nice to see that they fixed that. One of the complaints I had in the past was you always had to drag this window out, but that's no longer true. So very good. And then I can set whether I want to use system colors or the default colors that came with the theme. I'll leave them at default for now, and let me see if it's running a auto update. Nope. So we'll go ahead and do that. I had some problems running this down here from the Pop Shop. If I try, I think this is probably just a bug. Let's see if it'll do it. Let's see. Well, it seems to be working this time. Earlier today when I was doing this, it wasn't. So apparently they have fixed whatever the issue was with the repos. Okay. I'll get all my usual characters here and neofetch. Install a local only mail server for this for just today. Okay, let's see what we got. Well, that's good. It installed LSOF automatically. That doesn't always happen. So yeah, I've got to reboot. So, but we'll go ahead and take a look at. I have been doing some stuff. So yeah, the cache will probably be eating up some of the memory. Showing a little bit less than a gig right now, so we'll go ahead and reboot, and that should drop probably significantly. We'll take a look. We'll give it a shot. Let's see if it remembers. Oh yeah, it does. That's good. Ooh, some trash on the screen. That's minor. That's minor. Okay, so let's take a look what we got here before we do anything else. 850 meg, 760, it dropped down a little bit. So there are probably some processes that were running 759 megs. Not horrible. Let's take a look at this. 6.5 gig right here on my root file system. I'm going to go get my usual test and see how far off it's going to be from hardening. Again, I'll say initial hardening because some people will think this is all I do, and it isn't. Yeah, more updates coming. 503 is the current release. Saw that whip by in a hurry. And we still have our system D exposures. Great. .62 was the hardening index, and I'll just go up to the top and we'll work our way down. So some vulnerable packages, because it just came up with this. There's some information disclosure in the banner that always happens, and then IP tables is loaded, but there's no rules, and so it will heavily penalize me for that. So I need to set up my IPT tables. Password on grub, yep. Probably not important for a VM though. Probably you wouldn't want it on a VM actually, because that would prevent the VM from restarting. Let's see. So would encryption, by the way. Minimum password, maximum UMask, yeah, decrease. dev sums. Yeah, all the normal tools are missing. Those are the same. Cups. Yeah, I'll get rid of cups. I don't need a print server. This is new. No, that's not. That's the same. File integrity, sys control, options are needed. Yeah, so I don't really see anything there that's really worrisome other than the fact that it needs to be hardened in order for it to be up. But yeah, so let's check one more thing. It does not install OpenSSH by default. Oops, might help to tell it what I want it to do. Okay, so I got that installed. As far as what some of these things down here do, now I know that there have been some complaints about this, in that if I type in, let's say, a command line name, it's only going to show me the apps that are in the applications view and not the ones on the system. However, if you type in a question mark, now, okay, make a liar out of me. So normally it said, I think there was some additional things that it actually said that I could do here, and I don't see that happening. So they probably have turned this off, but you can run commands from the launcher to do searches, or you can just, if you're looking for something, give it a name. I'll say I'm looking for top, and then a print, and there it is, user bin top. So yeah, and you can adjust the find to look through the entire file system if you want. Of course, if you don't run it as root, you're probably going to have a number of directories you can't see into, but it's right there. It's the one it found. The rest of them, it just said you can't read into those directories. But if I do a sudo, that's why I always say it's kind of important to learn how to use the command line. If you're relying entirely on the GUI, you're missing out on a lot of power that's under the hood of Linux. So I won't get on my soapbox about that. Let's take a look at this view. This is the Workspaces view down here. So I have two of them currently set up, and this is my applications view, which again is just the applications list. And you can tie that, like I said before, to your launcher. And this is all new for Cosmic. Of course, the applications view is right there. Nothing new about that. It all works the same, or you can pair stuff up if you want. And file system, that looks very similar. One of the things that I wanted to see was, can I drag and drop onto the desktop? So let me create a file. And we'll just see if we can drag and drop it onto the desktop. Yes, we can. So that feature was added in Ubuntu. So that's nice to see that that works as well. So let's see. I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover on it. There are a lot of things that are on their roadmap. You'll probably notice that the install was very fast. They are moving to a asynchronous I/O model in PopOS. It's on their roadmap. It's been there for a while. I did not see it in the release notes for this particular version, so it may still be in planning. There's also a number of things they're planning on doing with the UI. There's a bunch of stuff they're still planning to do with even the file system. So yeah, I mean, the PopOS folks are, I've heard them say, well, I heard other people say, well, PopOS is really only designed for their machines. No. What's so special about their machines? They're Intel based. They use commodity hardware in them. So I don't know. Some people have some really weird ideas about things. But the thing is that they are really being innovative in trying to increase the performance of Linux in different areas. They're also trying to make it easier for us to use it and trying to save us keystrokes. They noticed the reason why they went to this view here was they noticed that people were struggling and that they would stop after switching into a workspace, that it would actually create a pause. And I think and so that's why they created these views, and so that made it, hopefully that pause goes away and it makes it more smooth for users to do things. I think the launcher needs some work. The earlier version that I tested of this had additional features in the launcher that appear to have been removed. Now, it could be they're having some bugs with it, and so they may be pulling features back out in order to work on them over time, or maybe they're pushing them into the next release. That happens if they don't think they can, if it's a bug that's going to take longer than June, and they really are pushing for a release in June, they might postpone things like that. That's normal. It happens all the time in the industry, so I don't ever worry about that. What I worry about is that when they're done with the final product, they give us something that works well and is pretty bug-free, doesn't crash, and those kinds of things. That's really the more important things. So what do I kind of think of things? I'm a PopOS user. I'm using PopOS right now to make this video. It is, like I said, the upgrade on the other machine that I have, it's kind of my experimental one over there. It's non-production. But yeah, it failed miserably to come up. But I probably did something wrong. There was a error when it started to install. So again, it's beta software. It's probably not the best time to test an OS upgrade script. But yeah, it is still sitting there on installing prerequisites. So it looks like something something is missing. Maybe the network isn't set up or something like that. But anyway, I'll restore it and we'll go back to the backup, and we'll try it again from this is running 2004, I think, is what it's running LTS. No, I take that back. It's running 2010 PopOS. So yeah, I'll try it again and we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's all I had for today. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe. And again, thank you to all my Patreons. I do appreciate the help that you're giving the channel. And yeah, we're getting ready to come up on 10,000, so I've got to figure out something to do for y'all because you've helped the channel grow up to 10K. That's really nice. I never expected that. I didn't think this channel would grow that large because it's kind of heavy, technical, and a lot of people don't like that. So, but anyway, hope you enjoyed this. See you all real soon, and bye for now.